Well, if you're not driving, it may be the cheapest option to commute between Albuquerque and Santa Fe, but it's expensive to operate. The state is looking down the road for ideas on how to keep the rail runner on track. News 13's David Romero is live at the downtown rail runner station with details. David?
Well, Dean, there are several items outlined in the tactical plan, long-term plan rather. Now, one of those could come down to a name game with local companies vying for sponsoring a rail runner spot like this one here in downtown. For commuters,
I love trains, so I really like it.
it's been one of the cheapest ways to get back and forth between Albuquerque and Santa Fe. But for the Rio Metro,
the operation and maintenance side is about $26 million.
it's a big tab to keep the rail runner rolling. That's not even including the $28 million per year the state is still paying for the construction of the rail runner. According to Rio Metro, the tri-county transit provider, funding to keep the actual train in service comes primarily from the federal government, gross receipts tax in the counties where it's operating, Amtrak fees to use the tracks, rider fares, and selling some onboard advertising.
We want to make sure that we keep the costs amenable so that people can ride the system without breaking the bank, and we feel we've managed to do that and still offset the other costs to run the train.
But there's always a what if. That's why the Rio Metro says they compiled this comprehensive long-term plan to look at other ways to keep transit, including the rail runner, operational. That may even include getting sponsorship or naming rights for things associated with the rail runner.
I think that if the company sponsored it, they could keep the fares low and they could do advertisement on the train.
You won't see a company name on these spots anytime soon since they're state-owned properties, according to the Rio Metro.
But that's just in there for like sort of a future look at what might be available to us to generate funds.
Right now, ridership brings in only about $2.5 million a year. One other suggestion could be making it a fare-free ride, but that's a long way off from consideration.
They're not the lowest, and they're certainly in line with where we should be right now.
It seems reasonable now, and I, of course, would love for it to stay reasonable. So if it were raised, I would still use it, I'm sure.
And while they may be comfortable for now, the Rio Metro says weekday ridership is down about 6% from this time last year, and they usually only get a boost in riders when gas prices start to climb. Dean, back to you.
All right, David, thank you. That $28 million per year construction cost the state is on the hook for is expected to balloon by 2025 and 26. That's when it will jump to $112 million payments.